I enjoy this more than almost anything I do in life. What I have to watch is, as I interview him, I start wanting to take notes myself. So I asked my team to take notes. Israel is known as a startup nation. What really caused that to occur? And what were the 2 or 3 elements that this country has done so much different than all of your peers?
Well, I should answer. Let me say just one word about you. I think the world, in fact, is being run today by global companies. So there are global companies, but without a global government. It's very interesting because the idea of global companies is to serve, not to rule. Governments want to show a talent for ruling. The companies want to show a tendency for serving. There are thousands of global companies, but if I would say, who is my model? I would say John, that sits here with us. John was the CEO of Cisco, now is the president. He told me, why did he change from being a CEO to president? His answer was, he doesn't want to run business. He wants to run for a better world. And he is the man who tries tirelessly to convert us from a people to human being. That's the way you see your task. And I do believe that you, ladies and gentlemen, carry today a responsibility which is behind business and behind jobs and behind everything. And that is to continue life, human life on earth. Because high-tech without morality is the greatest danger in life. As morality without high-tech will make the world die in starvation. And you have to bring it together. And John is the man who understands this great human mission, which is in the core of your business. Let me say just one anecdote before I shall answer it. I have been a day in China. You know, China's universities and the Israeli Tech Leon made a joint venture for high technology. And I came for a day. I don't stop speaking, as you know. So in this day, I spoke 5 times. The last meeting was students from China, 5,000 of them. Not everybody asked a question, fortunately. But the last question came from a Chinese girl, very lovely student. And she told me, Mr. Perez, you spoke logically, but please explain to me, what am I going to profit from what you're suggesting? I thought, my lady, in order to answer your question, let's agree first of all, what is profit? If profit is just money, I'm not sure I have an answer. But if there are other things which are profit, then we can maybe reach an agreement. I told her, for example, to go free, without fear, in your city, it's a profit or not?
It's a profit.
To fall in love and run a happy life, it's profit or not? Or you want just more money? The fact that you can help other people instead of trying to be helped by them is profit or not? Then to have a meaning in your life is profit or not? If profit is just pennies, I don't have an answer. If profit is a meaningful life with a human promotion, then I can try to explain what will be your profit. The answer was given by the 5,000 students who raised up and said,
yes,
that is our profit. And that's what I mean. Don't translate the meaning of life in pennies. Don't think that you have more pennies, you have a more meaningful life. Have more meaning, and then you'll have fulfilled life. And that, for me, John is a model of doing so. Now about Israel. Israel has one thing that will keep her forever in the front of modern innovation, the rest. And that is, we have nothing else. We are a country that the size of our land can hardly find a place on the map to be noticed. We are all told just 1%, 1 promille of the Middle East, 1,000th part. There is no way that we can extend it. We don't have water. We have 3 lakes. One was born dead, remained dead. The only lake in the world does have neither fish nor water. And remains to this day. We have one river, the Jordan River, quite famous. But this is the only river in the world that has more fame than water. More quotations from the Bible than something to irrigate with. Then we are lonely. We don't have a brother to our religion. We don't have a sister to our language. We don't have a party to our history. Alone. Alone, small. Very tough in our position, in our moral position. And we were 2 things. We were a people for 3,000 years. The real thing we produced in these 3,000 years is a small document, the 10 Commandments. All told, 172 words. And we kept it with such a devotion, with such a high price. And we created a great deal of opposition. We stood up against idols, against pharaohs, against tyranns, against discrimination. They didn't like it. But we lost our land. We lost our independence. We didn't lose this document that kept us as a people. Then the greatest catastrophe we have had was the Shoah, the Holocaust. And when the full picture was revealed, when the war was over in 1945, the world says maybe it's time to give those Jewish people something to have of their own. A small piece of land, a small little bit of independence. And they divided what used to be Palestine into twice, once half to Jordan, then half to the Palestinians, and then the remaining part, the Jordanians, between the Jordanians and the Palestinians, half us and half the Arabs. And we didn't make peace. So we all the time in tension. You know, we had 7 wars before we had a real state. Then we have not any natural resource, neither gold nor oil. At that time they used to joke and say in the Middle East there are 2 sorts of countries, the oily countries and the holy countries. Israel is clearly a holy country. Now they found gas, we don't know what to do with it. We are confused. Then they discovered, for sure we have nothing. And we discovered that the only thing we have, and everybody has, is what is being called the human capital. The man is the greatest natural resource. And we are living on this resource. We don't have an alternative. The Jordan will never become a Mississippi. And Jordan will never become a Yangtze River or a Volga. No chance. But we learn to produce water and make an agriculture based on high tech. And surprisingly, our agriculture produced yields 15 times higher. Now, there is one problem with the startup nation. To a startup nation, there is no end. Every time, you have to start up again. Because the more we know, we understand that more we don't know. We have to learn all the time. Even now, when we think that we are at a very high point of science, we are just at the beginning. And I believe we don't have a choice. We can live on our morality. This is unchanged. But we cannot live on our invention because some new inventions are coming in. And in science and technology, there is no second line. Either you're on top or you're out. The minute you become old, you lost science. And the problem is you cannot learn how not to become old. Because all the experts are experts for the past. You cannot learn about the future from the past, nothing. I mean, the future is a matter of dreaming, of imagination, of courage, of devotion, and endless. The only thing that you have to end in order to remain a startup nation is to divorce completely the past. The past is an ongoing mistake. And right now I feel the world is in a transition period. We pay for the past and we try to pay for the future. We pay twice and we don't have the results of one fully. When I look at Cisco, I think they're trying to put in logic in it. They say, gentlemen, if you have a future, what do you need the past? The past doesn't have a future. And if you have a future, what do you need the past? What for? It's dead. So for that reason, the fact that we hang on the human resource and nothing else. And I see with a smile how confused Israel is now that we discovered a little bit of gas. We are going out of our mind, we don't know what to do. Don't go out of humanity. Don't go out in believing in your children that they have much more than you think. I say to young people, don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to your teachers. Don't listen to your friends. The mother loves you, but she's a dictator. All the time. How do you move? How do you go? Let him move the way he wants. Be free. The teachers, what are they teaching? What we forgot already? The teacher finished the seminar 4 years ago. The student has an internet. He knows what happened 5 minutes ago. So actually the teachers are angry because the students are more informed and better informed than the teachers. So what do the teachers? They're angry with the students. They give them poor marks. Why? Be generous. Encourage them. Encourage them to dream, to imagine, to do things that you don't learn, but you learn how to dream. And that's what makes me so sure now. Then we are small, but in order to disbless of being small, we have big problems. We are about 8 million people. In the Middle East there are 400 million Arabs. There are 1.5 billion Muslims. And I'm not sure that they will disappear in a moment. Unless they will reach the same level that we are having, and that is our interest. As long as they'll see poor, ignorant, they will be jealous and angry. and they will be insulted. Why? And we have to open up to be a startup world, not even region, because the words, countries, regions are meaningless, because science doesn't have borders, and you cannot create borders. So I think I see now what's happening in Europe. You cannot have Europe alone and India alone. You know, Churchill said that Great Britain and America are one nation divided by the same language. Then India has nothing that unites her but the English language. Europe is divided by languages. They have 18 official languages. What are they doing in Europe? They translate all the time. They have 1,000 people who are permanent translators. I'm sure that John can go to Europe and say, gentlemen, I have to you a suggestion. Keep your language, national language, but agree about one language, the digital language.
Agree.
So you don't need the translators. You don't need the waste of time and bureaucracy, believe me. You want to keep your culture, keep. And I think that every human being must have at least two languages. The language of its culture and the language of science, which is just one, to innovate. And then also, I think what's happening as we grow up, that we understand that science is not hard work, it's not material, it's not having new machines and this. Finally, what I described about John, we call it in Hebrew tikkun olam. What we have is to make a better world, better human beings, better future for our children. And it's not to innovate new machines, but to help to improve the human being. They are the future. So I think I don't see us unemployed, neither you. Still, you and us have a great deal to help the world to stop being one-sided, namely material-wise or technological-wise, but to keep together with conviction, not with power, the match between science and morality. If you will lose morality, science is a danger because it may fall in the hands of terrible people. They may destroy the world. On morality, you cannot make a living because if you have morality without science, the world will be starving because of shortages of food, of water, and so on. So John and us, I don't see unemployment. I see additional tasks. We are just at the beginning, and just to conclude to say a word, I see already a new challenge for all of you. Not to research the past, but to predict the future. The big data or the cloud give us a chance to predict the future. That's a new experience. So as you see, I feel still that we have so much to do in the future that I'm worried not about unemployment, but I'm worried about wrong employment. And that should be the guiding line. Thank you.
Each time we're together, we've had the chance to focus on the Middle East, and we both believe in inclusion of all people, regardless of age, religion, and for the future to really have power that is a shared common view. Yet many people would say the Middle East at the present time is in the most tenuous position perhaps in recent history. How do you see the Middle East today? How do you see the Middle East today in terms of, are we closer to getting a region stabilized, or is it perhaps the most challenging times we've seen in the future? And perhaps what role can companies or the people in this room play in that future?
Next to innovation, you have to divorce the past. Nations or states are the past because they don't have borders. How can you, science doesn't have borders. And also, regions are geographic. Science are intellectual, not geographic. Science is blowing like a wind. It doesn't have borders. You cannot introduce divisions. I think what England did is a mistake. They want to return to the borders.
Yeah.
For a while, they had the largest borders in the world, an empire from sunrise to sunset. Then the Indians threw them out. And they lost the greatest empire and returned to their small islands without a role in life. They don't know what to do. What are you doing? You're going back to borders? To defend the borders, to spend money on planes that their cost is skyrocketing. I mean, $142 million a plane we are buying now. Gentlemen, make the planes unnecessary. And we have to help the terrorists to escape themselves, to be head cutters. And we have to understand what are the reasons. It may be insult, it may be unemployment, it may be hopelessness, it may be discrimination. We have to fight the reasons, not just the performance. So I believe we cannot go backward. It's a mistake. They say you have to learn the past, otherwise you'll repeat the same mistakes. I think it's a foolish remark. Why? New mistakes are better than old mistakes. They're cheaper. Leave it. The past is a mistake. It's dead. It's a cemetery. And the French, that we are so close to them and they are close to you,
Yes.
they are saying there is one thing which is worse than death, and that is boredom. If you are dead, you are not being bored. But if you are alive and you are being bored, what sort of a life is it? So you must all the time dream, not just repeat. Dream great, without hesitation. Don't be afraid of innovation, because people prefer to remember rather than to dream. It's a mistake. Nothing wrong in dreaming, much wrong in repetition. So I would say to a young boy or young girl, dear friends, divorce the past, forget it. It's unnecessary. And marry the future. I know you are not trained for it because there is a contradiction in our character. As people, we tend to be pessimistic. But when you look at history, history is optimistic. So why should your fear guide you more than the facts of life? You're all the time moving ahead. So try to believe that to move ahead is not a danger. We live more, we live better, we are healthier. Why complain God so much? And you are not managers, you are not CEOs. You don't have a choice but to be leaders with a vision. And democracy is not a matter of having a majority. But if you have a majority and you don't have a vision, what is the wealth of majority? What do you need a majority for? So democracy must be a vision and a majority. And I think what's happening now, many people lost the vision.
I agree.
They're looking just for a majority.
I agree.
And then the majority has rules. Do this and do that. You have to have a vision, a purpose. And the purpose must be looking forward, making better people, not just better robots. I say the robot doesn't have a future. It can serve. I was asked why. Because you can put in a robot many capabilities, but one. You cannot create a robot that will have his own vision. A robot doesn't know what he wants. And if you don't know what you want, you will never become enthusiastic. If you'll not become enthusiastic, you won't fall in love. And if you won't fall in love, you'll never get pregnant. So you don't have a future. Better put in vision. And human beings are by far better than any machine that we produce, unless we should drive our capabilities to make a better human being. And that's what you are trying to do.
I would agree. Thank you.